I spent my daughter's college fund to buy a new house after she became friends with my cheating ex's new girlfriend and started calling her new mom. Now my daughter is begging me to forgive her. I'm 44 years old and have an 18-year-old daughter named Mia, who is supposed to start college in a few months. I'm also in the middle of divorcing my husband of 20 years, Jonathan, who is 45. He had an affair with his 34-year-old secretary, Alicia, which had been going on for almost a year before he finally admitted it to me a couple of months ago. As soon as he told me, I filed for divorce and moved out of our house to live with a friend. I expected Mia to support me since I'm the victim in this situation, but she chose to side with her father. After a week of not hearing from her, I tried to talk to her because she hadn't even texted to find out where I was. She wasn't home the day Jonathan admitted the affair, and I moved out that same day, so I didn't get a chance to say goodbye to her. I waited for her to reach out, but she never did. Finally, after almost a week, I texted her first to tell her I was leaving her father because of his affair. She told me she already knew about it but didn't care much because she felt it didn't concern her. I thought it was strange that Mia sided with her father and began to suspect that letting Jonathan talk to her first was a mistake. He could have controlled the story and told her whatever he wanted about our marriage to make her side with him. I tried many times to talk to her and set things straight, but it seemed Jonathan had told her the truth, and despite that, she chose his side. I found that hard to believe, but she was still my daughter, so I put in a lot of effort to get her to talk to me and spend time with me, even though I was very busy with the divorce and my job. She would rarely agree to meet, and when she did, she seemed uninterested and spent most of the time on her phone. For the past couple of weeks, she hadn't been responding to any of my texts and was completely ignoring me. Then about a week ago, I saw an Instagram post she made where she was hugging Alicia with a caption that called her mom and included a heart emoji. I was already feeling terrible about losing my husband, and now it seemed like I was also losing my daughter to the same woman. That post was the final straw, and I snapped. I called Mia, and when she didn't answer the first time, I went a bit overboard and called her almost 17 more times until she finally picked up. When Mia finally picked up, she sounded annoyed, but I didn't care. I immediately demanded an explanation for her Instagram post and the caption. She told me it was none of my business and that I shouldn't be stalking her account. It was ridiculous because she has a public account, and I follow her because I'm her biological mother. I told her it was really hurtful and disgusting of her to side with Jonathan, even though he cheated on me, and now she was acting like that other woman was her mother while ignoring the woman who actually gave birth to her and raised her. Maya said she owed me nothing, and if I was so hurt, she would just block me so I wouldn't see any more of her posts. She said that what happened was done, and instead of whining, I should focus on making my future better, just like she was trying to get along with her new family. Then she hung up and actually blocked me, which was a huge shock. Mia and I, like any other mother-daughter pair, had our differences, but I never expected her to betray me like this. We had been pretty close when she was growing up, but in recent years she had grown closer to Jonathan. I'd always believed she loved us equally, but that phone call proved she didn't, and it pushed me over the edge. I cried for almost an hour after Mia hung up and blocked me. I couldn't believe my little girl would do this to me. But after I finished crying, I decided I wasn't going to let everyone walk all over me and just keep sobbing for the rest of my life. I decided to take Mia's advice and did something drastic. I had set aside a lot of money for Mia's college fund. Jonathan and I had agreed to split the cost of her college, so we had both saved up our halves in separate bank accounts and weren't supposed to touch that money. But I decided to spend my half on buying a house I had wanted for the past couple of years. It was a beautiful house in a nice neighborhood, but I hadn't been able to buy it because Jonathan didn't want to move, and Mia didn't want to leave her friends behind. Once I realized Mia had almost no gratitude, I decided to accept it and move on. I talked to the real estate agent handling that house and offered the entire college fund plus some extra money to buy it. I got the deal, and I'm supposed to move into the new house by the end of the month. I decided to take a picture of the house and post it on my social media so everyone would know that I'm not sitting at home crying over things I can't control anymore. I posted the picture of my new house on my social media, and a few days later, Jonathan texted me. He asked how I could afford the house because it was out of my budget the last time we discussed it. I told him the truth. I spent Mia's college fund to buy the house and didn't regret it. He lost it and started yelling at me, calling me an irresponsible mother and saying I had no right to do that to our daughter. He accused me of being petty and jealous just because Mia was getting along well with Alicia and suggested I was punishing Mia for not siding with me. None of that was true. I did this because I finally felt like I deserved something for myself. It was clear from Mia's behavior that she preferred her father and Alicia over me, so she didn't need me anymore. And if she didn't need me, then she didn't need my money either. Jonathan couldn't argue with that, so I disconnected the call. But it wasn't over yet, because I still had to deal with Mia. An hour after my call with Jonathan, Mia called me, and she was devastated. She was sobbing so hard that I could barely understand her. She kept asking how I could do this to her when she'd always put me first above everyone else. Feeling a bit petty, I asked her if she was still putting me first when she blocked me just because I was upset that she called Alicia her mother. Mia said it meant nothing and was just a sweet gesture to make Alicia feel more comfortable as part of the family. She explained that no matter what happened in the past, Jonathan wanted a future with Alicia, and she just wanted to balance her old family and her new family without losing either. She said she hadn't expected me to become so hostile towards her. I told her I felt the same way because she was the one who turned her back on me first, even though I was the victim and the one who had been cheated on. Mia kept crying, saying she never expected her own mother to take revenge on her like this. I started feeling horrible, especially when she began hiccuping, something she only did when she was really upset. I hadn't heard her do that since she was a kid, so I knew she was truly distressed. She apologized for whatever she did and then disconnected the call. I haven't been able to forget about it, and I'm really questioning if what I did was out of line. Update 1. Hey everyone, I recently moved into my new house. It's been a few days since I settled in, and I'd brought back all the things I paid for from my old house. While doing so, I ran into Jonathan, Alicia, and Mia. They're all living together now. It seems like Jonathan found a replacement for me even before I was gone, which is why the divorce is happening. Jonathan and Alicia ignored me the entire time I was there, which wasn't really a punishment. It actually made it easier for me to instruct the movers and get my job done faster without having to interact with them. Mia stopped me as I was leaving and asked if I had thought about contributing to her college fund. There was no apology or regret in her tone, so I chose not to respond and drove away. I've been thinking about this a lot lately, and I can't find any excuse for my daughter's behavior. We had grown distant in the past couple of years, which I thought was normal since she was a teenager. However, she had always been on good terms with her father, which made me feel a bit left out, but I never blamed her for that. This situation was different. I needed her to support me, but she didn't, and I felt let down. It was tough enough that she didn't stand up for me when her mother was cheated on, but her disrespectful treatment afterward hurt even more. No one should have to tolerate that level of disrespect, especially from their adult child who knows better. Update 2. As I mentioned in my last update, I can't forgive my daughter and the money is already spent. It doesn't make sense for her to keep bothering me every other day. Despite ignoring her for a few days, she continues to text me. Today, I finally replied. I explained that the money was already spent, so I couldn't undo it. I also pointed out that she had shown her priorities clearly, so it wasn't fair for her to treat me badly and then expect financial support for her college fund. The person she called mom could contribute instead, which would be more reasonable. Mia got annoyed and replied that it was just a post and I shouldn't get so upset. But to me, it wasn't just a post. It felt like a betrayal because not only was Jonathan choosing this woman over me, but it seemed like my own daughter was also taking their side, despite being old enough to know right from wrong. It was confusing and hurtful. The only two reasons I could think of were that Mia either didn't realize they had done something wrong, which would reflect badly on her morals, or she knew something I didn't, and they were doing something for her that I couldn't understand. Either way, she wasn't supporting me, and it really hurt. I told Mia all of this, but her response was that I needed to get over it. I was so frustrated that I muted her notifications and put her messages in a folder. I couldn't block her because she's my daughter, but if she keeps testing my patience, I might have to. Update 3. It's been 2 weeks since I last talked to Mia, and today, Jonathan and Mia showed up unexpectedly at my office. I was leaving for lunch when I saw Jonathan's car parked nearby, and both of them were waiting for me outside. I planned to ignore them and walk past, but they came over and insisted on talking. I explained everything again, but they still didn't get it. I told them to leave, but Mia wanted an explanation from me, so I took them to a nearby restaurant to sort things out once and for all. I started talking first without letting them interrupt because I wasn't interested in their excuses. I explained that Jonathan and I were divorcing because he cheated on me after almost 20 years together. Instead of supporting me, Mia chose to befriend the woman he cheated with and make me feel worse. I told her that her actions were hurtful and not what I expected from my daughter. It was all very upsetting, and I didn't want to be around any of them anymore. They were all terrible people, lacking morals and ethics. I told Mia that I was only listening to her because she's my daughter. Otherwise, someone else might have cut her off after that post. She was lucky to get any chance to talk to me at all, as not everyone would be as forgiving. When I finished speaking, I saw tears in Mia's eyes, and I knew she was about to cry. I quickly grabbed my food, paid, and left. I didn't want to seem weak, even though it was hard to see her cry. Neither of them has reached out to me since, and I doubt they will, especially not about the college fund since I made it clear why it's gone. I still have to meet Jonathan for negotiations soon, but I'm unsure about my relationship with Mia after today. She seemed really upset, and although I'm not sure what made her cry, I know my words had an impact. It's been a month since I last saw my daughter, and I was starting to accept that it might be the end of our relationship. Jonathan also stopped arguing with me during negotiations, perhaps because my words at the restaurant had an impact on him too. When he told me about Alicia, I didn't yell, I just walked away quietly. Mia and I didn't talk for a month, and I wasn't sure if we ever would again. She's about to start college soon, and I kept looking at old photos of us, thinking about how I won't be there to see her off. Instead, it'll be Alicia, which made me really sad. But then 3 days ago, Mia sent me an emotional email. She apologized for her behavior and explained that she was trying to be nice to Alicia because Jonathan promised her a car if she treated Alicia well and allowed her to get an apartment with her friends in her second year of college. She didn't want me to ask questions about her relationship with Alicia, so she started pushing me away, hoping to reconnect after getting the car. She realized it wasn't worth losing our relationship and regretted everything she did. Mia asked if I could be there when she starts college, giving me the dates. I'm still unsure about going because she was doing all of this for material things and to have fun with her friends. I understand why she wanted a car and an apartment, especially since I was once her age. However, I would never hurt my loved ones for something like that, and she hurt me a lot. It was intentional and for a petty reason, so I'm not sure if I can forgive her quickly, even though she apologized. I haven't replied to her email yet because I'm still figuring out what to do. While I don't think material things justify her actions, I miss her a lot and wish we could go back to how things were. Update 5. Thank you all for following my story and for your support. Maya and I are starting to mend our relationship. She's leaving for college soon, and I replied to her email yesterday. I told her how hurt I felt and that it would take time for me to heal. However, I also realized I couldn't stay mad or keep her away because she's my only child. Some might see me as weak, but I believe there's been enough pain in our family, and I don't want to carry hate in my heart anymore. I don't fix things because I feel like I have to, but because I genuinely want to. If I wasn't her mother, I don't think I could forgive her, but I am, and this time I can overlook what happened as long as she promises not to hurt anyone who loves her again. We had a heartfelt conversation on the phone afterward, and it ended with both of us crying. It was a good release of emotions. She promised she wouldn't act that way again and expressed her desire to repair our relationship. We're planning to try online therapy sessions since we've been through a lot and believe we need professional help to work through these issues. She also asked her father to stay home because she wants me to drive her to campus and help her settle in. This will give us time to talk before she leaves. Jonathan and Alicia were disappointed not to come, but Mia was firm about her decision, and I'm glad she chose me. While things aren't perfect yet, I believe with time and effort, we can mend our relationship, and I'm hopeful we will.